To the extent that he even says in the Quran, we sent it as an Arabic Quran so that you can reach their hearts, because if you don't say it the way they like, they won't even listen to you. Because that's this block that they have, this veil that they have, where they really want to hear it the way they like. They don't want you to speak to them to the heart. They just want to hear it the way they think is impressive, which is not how you learn what the truth is. But if that's how you want to know what the truth is, if that's how you feel the truth should be said in a way you like, then you're not going to go very far in this world, because God doesn't work that way. God doesn't work that way. He doesn't send a viceroy the way people would like to see. He sends the man from himself with the truth, whether people take it from him or not. God is a very jealous God over his truth. And he's not interested in people to clap for him or to glorify him and praise him if they don't wish to. He doesn't care. It's his truth, and he's going to deliver it the way he likes.
So you now just gave the example of Muhammad, and where do we find this as well with Moses, right?
Yes.
Moses needed Aaron to help speak for him. Why? Because he wasn't able to articulate himself in a way that he even felt comfortable talking to all these people. And these were the major leaders of the biggest world religions, and they had these issues with their people. So don't you think it's possible that the same is going to happen with Imam al-Mahdi? Or at least aren't you shy to just make it all depend on how good someone speaks Arabic or how well they know how to recite the Quran? This is not what this is about. Yes. It's about the logical proofs, it's about the message, it's about asking God if this is the truth, and it's about understanding with your mind what we're trying to say. And we are literally coming to you with proofs from all different religions. We just read the proofs about the scholars from the Bible to you. Now we're going to go into the hadith with you, and we just read verses from the Quran as well. And instead of coming with arguments, with proofs, telling us why no, the scholars are very important, you are actually just talking about if we can read the whole thing that we're saying in Arabic, or why we're not covering our hair. And I think we should really focus on the point, and we should focus on hopefully the people who are actually listening trying to understand what we're saying.
So there's a very interesting hadith that exists in 3 books now. We're talking about Bihar al-Anwar, Al-Kafi, and Kanzul Ummal. And this hadith is actually extremely direct. There is no confusion about what's being said in the hadith. It's very clear. It says the scholars of that time, meaning this time, the end times, the scholars of that time will be the most evil scholars under the sky. Fitna will come from them, and to them it will return. Or problems and issues will come from them, and to them it shall return. And that's what we were saying in the beginning. Today the world is in a very terrible state, because people feel convinced that what they have is good enough because their scholars told them it is good enough. And it's not. Because if it was, then you would not see the world the way it is today. If the scholars are enough, then please tell me why it is that I cannot find a single interpretation of the Holy Quran to be a united interpretation among all the scholars. I cannot. All scholars have their own idea of how to interpret or what to think or what it means. They all have their same verdicts, different verdicts. They all have their own fatwas. They all have their own, and it's not a problem just in the supposedly Muslim scholars, but also the supposedly Christian scholars. And even in Judaism, you'll have this problem. There are so many sects. And why are there so many sects? You might think this is a sect. By the way, we get this question a lot. We get this question of, are you a new sect? Is this religion a sect of Islam? But we're not a sect, because a sect would be a part of the big problem, and we're not. We are the ones who have found Imam Mahdi, the true Imam Mahdi, who comes with the true Islam and the true Christianity and the true Judaism, and he comes with the true revival of the actual religion of God. And the actual religion of God says that religion is a man, it's a person. Just like Prophet Muhammad said, whoever dies without knowing the Imam of their time dies the death of ignorance. We've gone over a few of the hadiths that explain how scholars are not the best people to follow in the end times, because they are very bad for the Muslims and for the Christians and basically everyone. They actually bring people to misguidance. I'm going to read one last hadith. Did you want to say something?
I just wanted to say, if I look at this and it says the scholars of that time will be the most evil scholars under their time.
You'd be worried.
I'd be very worried. I mean, if I was a Muslim, I'd be like, wow, okay, I'm going to look into that. And by the way, you can find all these references on our websites as well. So I would look into it, and I would at least give it a look, because this is not one hadith, not 2, not 3. These are so many. And then you also come with proofs from the Bible, which is a book that you also have to at least take a look at, because it's a prophet that you believe in, which is Jesus. And you should really read these hadiths and be like, wow, what if this is true? What if these scholars are actually going to be the enemies of Imam Mahdi? I'm not say following them. And if you really care about finding Imam Mahdi, you should at least give this some thought.
Exactly.
And also if you follow the news, because I'm sure that most of you have heard of corruption of scholars, one or the other one, of scandals, of things that really shocked you. And this is the same, of course, in the church. I mean, obviously, all Christians must know that there is something wrong with many priests, with many high-level priests,
to be known,
trying to cover up pedophilia scandals. It's horrific.
It's terrible.
And I don't think anyone can stand for that. And therefore, if you just open your eyes and look in the world around you and look what many Muslim scholars, Christian scholars, and Jewish scholars are doing, you should at least give some thought to what we are saying, because we're backing it up with scriptural evidence.
Absolutely. Okay, I think I'm going to read one last hadith and then we can see if anyone wants to say something on the mic. This hadith is actually from Bihar al-Anwar, and it's also present in the tafsir of Imam al-Askari, peace be upon him. And it's quite a heavy hadith. It says that the jurisprudents, who are the jurisprudents? They are the ones who decide whether or not you can eat the red M&Ms, the ones who decide whether or not women can drive a car. These are the jurisprudents of the time. The Imam says that the jurisprudents are more harmful to the weak ones of the Shia than the army of Yazid was to Hussein, the son of Ali, and his companions. Let that sink in for a minute. The Imam is basically saying that these scholars who make fatwas are more harmful for the Shia than Yazid was to Imam Hussein and his companions. For they take away from them their lives and money. Because these scholars, and it's known, right? They take all your homes, they take your money, they make you do whatever they want you to do, whether it's from God or not. And that's the key here. Is it from God? Are they appointed from God? They're not. And this is from the hadith. These are not the words from any of us. This is hadith of Imam Hassan al-Askari that you can look up right now in Bihar al-Anwar, and you can look up right now in the tafsir of Imam al-Askari, which I would hope you would. But people don't like to read these days, but you should. It's important to read. Those evil scholars that claim to be loyal to us and hostile to our enemies, they cause doubts and shubha. Shubha means something that sounds like the truth, but it's not the truth. They cause doubt and shubha to enter the weak ones of our Shia. So they misguide them and they prevent them from reaching the real truth. It's not news to anyone that when Imam Mahdi rises, he rises with his companions, and they are very few. If you count the billions of human beings on the planet, if you count the millions of Christians, of Muslims, of people around the world who claim belief in one God, and you count the millions of Shia, and then you look at the number of people who are with Imam Mahdi at the end, it's tragically small. The number is tragically small. If you out there are listening and you claim to be a follower of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you claim that you are waiting for Imam Mahdi, and you say that you would follow him if he came, know that his number of people that are with him are very small. So clearly the infrastructure of what the masses are following, something is wrong with it. So you have to look into that and think about why it is that the people who end up following Imam Mahdi are so few. It's very, very, very important.
And if we look in the Quran, then for all Muslims, it repeats over and over again that the majority of people is always wrong. The majority of the people goes astray.
Most of the people, the words go, most of the people do not believe.
Most of the people do not believe. And there is many verses, verse after verse after verse, that repeats this same meaning. So if you believe in that, and then you find yourself being with the majority of the people,
there's something to be worried about.
Something that most of the people believe in, then there's something to worry about. Maybe you are just following, and especially if you were born into the religion and you are just following what your forefathers were doing. Because if you read the Quran, there are also so many verses that say they just follow what their forefathers were upon. Absolutely. And that's a problem. Absolutely. So if you find yourself in that exact same circumstance, then it should probably ring a bell, especially if you believe the Quran is eternal and it's still relevant today, and you should be, hey, yes, I do follow the majority, because if everyone says something is normal, or if everyone says follow the scholars, then I do it too. And yeah, I kind of just believe this because my forefathers told me that this is the truth. Then maybe you should question, investigate, and you should you should have this relationship with God, get on your knees and say, hey God, I want to find Imam Mahdi, because whoever doesn't find the Imam of the time dies the death of ignorance.
Exactly.
So show me, where's Imam Mahdi?
Exactly.
Is this the truth, or what is the truth? Whatever it is, please show it to me, and just open your heart. But don't just be like, hey, I know the truth, I was born into it, I do what everyone else does, and that means I'm fine. This has never worked. It has never worked in the history. If you look in the history of the prophets, then you find that they are always with a very small group of people.
Exactly.
How many people were with Noah? Just a handful. How many people... Exactly. How many people were with Jesus? Just 12, and they also got scared.
Away too.
So it was never like a large group of people. How many people were with Prophet Muhammad in the Battle of Badr?
It was 313.
So it is always just an extremely small amount of people, a handful of people that are supporting the Prophet of their time. So you cannot just follow something because the majority of people are doing it. Absolutely not. That's not an argument.
I completely agree. Should we see who would like to speak to us?
Yes, of course. Let's go.
Okay. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Hello.
Assalamu alaikum.
Hello. I'm just gonna put the volume up a bit so we can hear you very well. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hello. How are you?
How are you?
We're good.
I'm fine, alhamdulillah. I have a few questions for this, belief that you guys share, because as my understanding, we have to follow the Sunnah, and we are all brother and sister. But if we start separating us in different names like Ahmadi or whatever you want to call, we are creating these sects that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said we're gonna be 73 sects. Right. Even if we think we are not sects, splitting ourselves and believing little things from one to another, we are doing these things that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he mentioned a long time ago. One of the things that I don't understand from your belief, it's that you guys, if I'm not saying something, just can you correct me? Sorry for my English.
No, we're all doing great.
Okay. You believe that there is a prophet, another prophet after Prophet Muhammad ﷺ called
No, we do not.
Ahmed. And
we do not believe in a prophet after Prophet Muhammad, no. We believe Prophet Muhammad is the final messenger of God.
Okay, so why then you are believing that there is someone living in this era and is going to come
I understand.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to answer your last question first, and then I'll answer your first question in the end. Is that okay?
Okay. And yeah, the thing it will be, and do you guys believe that this prophet has another book far from the Quran, or what will be your belief also?
Well, the thing is, like I mentioned, we don't believe there is a prophet after Prophet Muhammad at all. We believe that, yes. So what we believe is this, brother. We believe that the words of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ are true words. We believe in his hadith, okay? And we believe in what he has said. When he says that he would, and I'm not sure how well versed you are, brother, in the hadith books, but Prophet Muhammad, according to the hadith, wanted to write something before he died. This is something in the Sahih books, that he said, I will write for you something. If you hold on to it, you will never go astray. And in fact, you do find in the hadith books that he did in the end dictate a will that was written by his cousin Imam Ali. And that will is found in the books of hadith. That will of Prophet Muhammad, brother, it has in it the names of the 12 men who come after Prophet Muhammad and the 12 Mahdis after them. So 12 Imams and 12 Mahdis, these are not from us, these are from the words of Prophet Muhammad. So if you understand what I'm saying to you, I'm saying that Muhammad is the one.
Yes, do you have the dalil of these 12 prophets or 12
there are no prophets after Prophet Muhammad.
Sorry. Okay, 12 caliphs that they're gonna come after him. In which hadith is this one?
So the hadith that says that there is a will that comes that was written by Prophet Muhammad, that will exists in the books of hadith, one of which is Ghaib al-Tusi. And Ghaib al-Tusi was written by Allama al-Tusi, is a scholar that the Sunnah do not believe in, but he was a scholar that wrote hadiths. Because Prophet Muhammad said, I want to write a will, which means he must have written a will. And him saying, I want to write a will exists in the books of the Sunnah. So if the
Sorry,
Sunnah
can you
believes,
repeat the name to just search? What's the name? Sorry?
It's called Ghaiba al-Tusi. And you can find it on our website as well. It's the ahmadireligion.org. You'll find a whole article on the will of Prophet Muhammad.
But
so also, brother, there is another hadith that's very important to know about. And this hadith exists in Sahih Muslim and it exists in Ibn Hanbal, the Sanad of Ibn Hanbal. It's an important hadith. And this hadith says, whoever dies without knowing the Imam of the time dies the death of Jahiliyyah. That means that every time there must be an Imam. There must be some Imam that you follow. So in this time period, brother, each Muslim has to ask themselves, where is my Imam? Because God says, you must know this Imam or you will die the death of Jahiliyyah. That's something to think about.
Sorry, what's your name?
My own name, my personal name?
Any name.
Or
just
the name of this religion?
No, to you, to talk to you, sorry.
Okay, I'm your sister Alia.
Alia, okay, sister Alia. When you read this hadith, how do you interpret it, or where did you understand that it has to exist an Imam living?
Because that's
whatever
what the hadith says, brother. Very clear. It says clearly.
Yeah, but
dies without knowing the Imam of their time dies the death of Jahiliyyah. Meaning, of your time must be an Imam. It's very clear.
Yes, exactly. But when you read the word Imam, it has different and understanding and meaning also. Because the word Imam, it could be the Imam that you lead the prayer. It could be yourself, your Imam. You can raise and learn and develop your Imam.
I understand
so
your point.
we have to be very careful when we understand and we take our own understanding of the hadith.
Who should give us the understanding?
Exactly, that's what
I would like to know. What do you suggest?
That's the point where I'm leading now. Yes, just give me 1 minute, you will understand my point. When we want to understand the tafsir and the hadith and the dalil and all this stuff, that we're going to lead and increase our Imam and follow the path of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and be a ummah, and one ummah following the Salafis. And the Salafis were the ones that live after the Prophet, the Sahabas that were with the Prophet, and the ones who learn and bring us the hadith after the Prophet, the 3 generations. Sorry. So how we going to understand this hadith and this tafsir is very simple. Sister, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said it in the Quran, the ulama, the ones who get the understanding, who are the ones who can explain and can make us clear verses and help us to get the word of Allah. Because if we take it straight, we can change the words, we can understand it wrongly, and this is not Allah understanding, it's a man's understanding, and we have to find ourselves in one way, and this is the way of Allah. So how we gonna understand this? It's very simple. We find a good and honorable and person who is a sheikh, who is a ulama, and these are very well known in the Muslim studies and knowledge. We have like Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, Sheikh Ibn Baz, Sheikh Fawzan. We have all these good scholars who are recognized by the Ummah. And,
I understand what you're saying, brother.
This is the point. So if we start splitting ourselves, we're gonna mislead the world, and this is not something we have to
with all
do.
With all due respect, brother, if we could respond, if we could just quickly respond.
Yes. Sorry.
So you are suggesting that I find someone who is very honorable, who has a lot of knowledge, and who can tell me what these verses mean, because who am I to know? Correct?
Yes, but sister, not from only one sheikh or one imam. Allah give you also your understanding and your knowledge. You can take
I use both
from
my
different
understanding and this sheikh. This is what you explain.
Exactly.
Okay.
You just don't follow everything, but you can learn from different.
I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great
Yes.
idea. And the thing I'm trying, the thing that the beautiful thing, brother, is right now, I was sitting right now here with Caroline. I don't know when you entered the session, but the whole point of what we were talking about and discussing is that we agree with you. We think that there has to be someone that you can ask about these matters, because if you don't have someone to ask about these matters, how will you know for sure? Without the knowledge, without being honorable, without the experience, you need someone who has these things to explain.
And we also have to say that there are so many, because as I'm reading the comments, as you're talking, there are already people disagreeing with you, saying, well, the Salafis are also wrong, and no.
There's a lot of,
because
there's
there
a lot
are so
of
many different
divisions.
people. No, this scholar isn't good, but this scholar isn't right. So you are advocating for one scholar. The comments already are saying there are Muslims who believe that scholar that you're mentioning isn't good. Then we have the whole Shia branch who are saying basically all the Sunni scholars.
There's so much confusion, brother.
Yes.
So we agree with you. There
No,
has to be
no. Sorry. This is something. I'm sorry, but it's not true. I'm just gonna say one thing. Listen, all the Sunnah, all the ulama, all the persons who find understanding and find knowledge and search for it with heart, in the name of Allah, they will find the truth, because Allah, when you do one step to Him, He will do two to you.
That's
exactly what we
This is
believe.
beautiful. We
Exactly.
agree with you, brother. But this is what we're trying to tell you. We did find a scholar who could help us with it. And that scholar, brother, is actually Imam Mahdi. And that's the thing we're trying to tell you. We found a man from God, who God himself said, I will send him. And that is Imam Mahdi, who has the knowledge, who's very honorable, and who's very experienced, because he comes from the line of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in my world, brother, I did find a scholar.
Yes.
I did find a sheikh. I found him to be very reputable. I used my common sense. I used my understanding to see whether or not he makes sense. He makes sense, so I want to follow him. You yourself, brother, are doing the same. But what we are telling you here, what our faith is what? Our faith is that if the Muslim Ummah could understand that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the end time, Ahmadi will come to unite the people, then this has to be understood, that all these sects and all the division, all the confusion, it has to be put away, because we need one man to unite the people. That is what we are saying. This is the same thing we are talking about today, that instead of having confusion, instead of having all these problems of this and that, not knowing what the truth is, why can't we have the man from God who we are meant to follow? And that's what we're doing today. You understand?
And what we are saying is that
but what I don't understand. Sorry.
While you are deciding on the best fallible person to follow, we are saying, rather than using your effort trying to distinguish which fallible person who says, I'm not actually from God, I'm just studying hadith, but I'm a good person, instead of wasting your efforts trying to figure out which of them is the best, put this aside and put your efforts on finding the person that actually says,
appointed from Allah.
I'm appointed by God and I have proof. I'm mentioned in the will of Prophet Muhammad. I come with the knowledge of Prophet Muhammad and I can prove it. And I want you to ask God about me. So we are saying the God that we believe in wouldn't leave us without guidance, trying to figure out between fallible people, which of them is the most reputable and which maybe not, and if this hadith is true or not. God would always put an imam in our midst who is enforced by God, who can actually tell us, this is what Prophet Muhammad meant, this is what he wanted, this is what Jesus said. So this is our understanding, this is our Aqidah, this is what we believe.
Yes, I respect you honestly, because
God bless
there
you,
is
brother.
it's better to believe in one God, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah will guide us, but
I agree.
yes, I respect you, wallahi al-adim, but I fear I don't accept the same thing, because for my understanding, in the Quran, we can see that Allah has fulfilled our religion, has sealed the Islam, and it's finished for us until the day of judgment, where will happen all these things that you are saying will come. Imam Mahdi will come.
That's a good point. You know, brother, we also are believers of the Quran, and we want to tell you, just so you know, what we think of that, so that you know our perspective. Because
yes, just let me finish one thing, and then you can share whatever you like. I will listen to you, no problem. And these things that we are waiting for the day of judgment, or many of us, we don't know if we will still alive, but we can realize that they are looking, or we are seeing a lot of the signs of this day to arrive. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in any moment, He mentioned that we have to wait for any imam, that he will guide us with another path, or we will have another scriptures. Allah says, this is the Quran al-Arabiya وَأَنزَلْنَاهَا لِكُمْ. This is the book in the language of the Arabic for you, and it's fulfilled. When the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he died, he said, my religion for you from Allah has finished. So it's completely sealed. It's done. There is nothing more to add, nothing more to change. What happened when he died? Of course, the book wasn't like ordered like we have it today. They have to reunite all the things and decide what is the order and everything. But the Quran was there. We know these things. So for any other belief to say this, we have another book, another imam, another guide, this I respect it. But from my understanding, the ones who can do this job are the ones who are chosen by the ulama and by the caliphate who came after the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not by ourselves or by desires or by thinking. I respect it, but I don't agree with that. So if you want just to share whatever you would like.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would really like to thank you for being so polite and understanding and being so respectful. We really admire